everyone. We are here with Damian McCarthy. He is the writer-director of a brand new film coming out in May from Neon, Hokum, and that stars Adam Scott. It's also going to be the closing night film at Overlook. So if you're lucky enough, go catch it there. Damian, how are you?
Good, Norman. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Yeah, so the movie, very good, very atmospheric. But to get the discussion started, can you kind of just tell me a little bit about the film and what the setup is?
So Adam Scott plays a troubled writer who travels to Ireland, where his parents once went on their honeymoon, and he goes there to scatter their ashes. And when he arrives, he ends up getting involved in a mystery of a missing person and a supposedly haunted honeymoon suite, which he makes the mistake of wanting to take a look in. And things
And
get
then
worse.
and yeah, things and hijinks ensue. Um, the film explores grief, but it's also just a really good haunted house movie. What first sparked the idea for this story?
I think it was that. I think it was wanting to make a haunted house movie and specifically a haunted hotel, a haunted hotel film. It's that there hasn't been many of them made over the years, The Shining and 1408, but this is something that I really wanted to have a crack at it because it even felt like it was a way that your characters are already they're ready for you there. There's the manager, the owner, the caretaker, the bellboy. And that's like, what are all those guys like, especially if they're working in the supposedly haunted hotel. Um, that was kind of the jumping off point, and then it was just very much about also in that subgenre of a guy just trying to survive the night. What would it be like to bring in this outsider, bring him to Ireland, put him in this situation with these oddballs, and then kind of have him just trying to make it till dawn without, losing his mind or getting killed by getting taken away by something supernatural. So yeah, it's a lot of that's all fun stuff for somebody like me who loves horror movies.
Yeah, most definitely. You can tell you love horror. I mean, because you've got all the things there, and that poor bellboy. Oh man, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so you wanted to create a really good haunted house, haunted hotel movie. Why did you choose Ireland during Samhain?
Well, again, I'm just inspired by what's around me. I mean, where the film is set very much takes place where I grew up, where I've made my first two films. Um, but I just thought there'd be something interesting about this time having an American protagonist come into this area, which may seem very foreign and strange to him, and just kind of, use that against the character in a way, make him feel more isolated, make him feel like there's nowhere to go for help and really nobody to ask, ask for a way out of this. So yeah, it's just kind of being inspired by what I have here locally.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask why an American and how you ended up with Adam Scott. How did he come on board?
Uh, I mean, I'd always been a fan of Adams, and just luckily for me, he saw my last film, Oddity, and he liked it. And I think he was just, I mean, Adam's a big horror fan, obviously starting in Krampus, but just as we were working together and getting to know each other, I just realized he really loves the genre too, and he's seen a lot of stuff and really passionate about it. So um, my script for Hokum made its way to him, and he enjoyed it, and we met and talked about the script and just hit it off. And he was fully on board with the fact that the character isn't all that likable, that the character is a bit of a bully and not the most pleasant guy to begin with. And it's almost kind of over the course of the film, that character, through what he goes through, has to soften and kind of, put a lot of this stuff away and a lot of the way the character is living his life. So it was great. I mean, for me, it was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Hmm. There's you have a brilliant structure to your writing. There you build these arcs and then they have these payoffs, but not everyone goes through the trouble of doing that. Why is that important, and how does that really punch up the horror?
I sup- So you could look maybe something like a slasher film, and obviously, I'm sure you could think of maybe 10 examples off the top of your head where this won't be the case. But I always, just to kind of generalize it, there feels like something with slasher movies, which I do really like, where they're not really characters. They're just that they're so many people, five bodies that just need to be killed. It just becomes about the deaths. I just think there's something a lot more interesting and scary if you get to know the characters a little bit, whether they're unlikable, whether they're unlikable, whatever it is. But just as long as they're interesting and they feel real, I think then it's going to make the film feel a little bit more, engaging and engrossing, and you'll just care more about what happens to people, even if it is a villain, because even if they're interesting, you're going to want to see them make it all the way to the end. Yeah, it's just yeah, I think that's just always been my approach to it. Is just try to make the characters as believable and interesting as possible, and hopefully then it all that will feed back into making the film scarier.
Well, it certainly does, and it gets you to invest. It gets you to, you
Yeah.
know, really lean in. Um, the atmosphere in the film is amazing. But as a director, for you, how do you decide kind of what to show or what not to show, and why is
Hmm.
that so important to get right?
It's that I heard this really good interview years ago with Sam Raimi, and he was talking about how he'd approach horror films. And I always thought it was such a good lesson that it's like to show the audience enough that they have something that they're afraid of. So like later on when they're getting into bed and they're thinking about it, they have this image in their mind. But it's also holding back on stuff. So now they have to use their own imagination. It's like what happens next, or what's happening there because I can only hear it. And that's something I've always tried to do. Is just it's a little bit of a gut feeling. Then of kind of going, I think I should show this because it's worth showing because it's scary. But then this, I think this is a good one now to trust the audience with because, or maybe there's nothing I can show them that's going to be as frightening as what they'll come up with themselves. I mean, I have a murder scene in my last film, Oddity, where this woman is murdered, but I don't show it. I skip right past it. I jump cut past it. So you see the killer approach, then you cut, and then you just see blood everywhere in this match cut. And I think my approach with that was very much that. I was like, well, I feel like I've done my job because all of the heavy lifting was done in showing the killer there. But now there's really nothing I can show in terms of violence that people haven't seen before. So it'd be so much worse that they'd have to imagine this. And I think a lot of that is with the scares too. Um, you
I
know,
mean,
in
yeah,
show it not to.
to sort of simplify it, it's basically kind of like building a meal with a main course and entrees or sides, or you know what I'm saying? There has to be that build up, that focus.
Yeah. Hmm.
So wow. I mean, so when you're creating tension in a scene, where do you start first? Is it camera language, sound design, performance?
I probably the script, I would think, when you're writing the script, if it doesn't have any kind of effect on me, I know it's not going to have effect on anybody. So like, I think it's almost like writing, I can imagine a comedian writing jokes. He's got to laugh at it first. He's got to be writing stuff going like, oh, that's actually very funny. And he's laughing as he's doing it. I kind of the same when I'm writing, go like, oh, that's actually kind of creepy. And I'll start glancing over my shoulder going, oh yeah, that's actually good. And I'd
You
probably
can
start getting a bit of a nervous laughter doing it going, oh yeah, that would be good. And it just starts from there. And then after that, then it's a case of storyboarding it and then trying to figure out, well, where's the best place to put the camera to get that effect? And then, you're relying on the actor to be able to sell that scare, which Adam was so good at because he kind of puts his whole body into the
yeah.
scares, very, very physical. And then through the edit, the sound design. So it's at any stage it could go wrong, all the way to getting it to the audience. But I do think it has to start with that, is it having an effect with you to begin with? And then away you go.
Yeah, I mean, you actually sit there and try to scare yourself. So
Yeah, pretty
that's amazing. So we've talked about atmosphere, we've talked about things like that. But at the end of the day, your goal, what journey do you want the audience to go on, and how do you want them to feel when they're walking out of the theater?
I'd like them to feel like they've been through something, that they've definitely been on a journey with the character. That they feel like that they can see that he's changed that they've escaped it. Um, one of the goals I have, and it's probably a strange thing for a horror filmmaker to say, is I've never really any interest in like traumatizing an audience or disturbing them. Scaring them definitely, and startling them, and trying to make them laugh, and trying to get that nervous laughter out of people, and definitely trying to give them the creeps. But ultimately, when they leave the film, you kind of want to feel like it was entertaining. It was like, oh, I really enjoyed that. That scared me, and that's kind of gotten under my skin. And hopefully they go back and want to see it again. It's just that I think of horror films I've seen that are maybe very heavy and very brilliantly made, but maybe quite punishing. So when you come out of the film, you go, "Oof, that was brilliant, but it was tough." And I feel like I'm a little bit drained by it, and I kind of don't
Yeah,
know if I watch it again. I've always tried to, you know, try to make films that are entertaining, that do put the audience through it. But when you come out the other side, it's a little bit like that roller coaster. You go, "Okay, I survived. That was actually a lot of fun. I think I'd do that again."
yeah. It was Wes Craven that said people don't go to get scared, they go to survive,
That's good.
and
I
they
like that.
they they get out of it. Well, again, Hokum, damn good film. I had a lot of fun with that. And everyone, it's Damian McCarthy. Uh, Neon's going to put out Hokum in theaters May 1st. And if you're lucky enough to be at Overlook, that's going to be the closing night film. Damian, thank you. And I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Excellent. Thanks, Norman. Really appreciate it.
Thank,
Thanks.
thank you.